So funny.
Hi guys, I think it's recording. Yes, it's recording. Hi, welcome to the last class for DES 109. But welcome, and I hope that I hope we keep you entertained. Okay, off goes my camera.
Mary, we're always entertained.
You're always entertained? Nothing
Yes.
else, you're entertaining yourself?
No, we're always entertained with you.
Oh, well that's good. You guys, our teacher's a little weird.
No. That was meant as a compliment.
Okay. That's good, I guess. I guess that's good, right?
Yes, it is. But, Sherry, I'd much rather be in a class with an entertaining teacher than one that puts me to sleep.
Bueller.
Yeah.
Bueller. Did you guys ever watch that one?
Which one?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, yes.
And then the actual scene where he's doing that, there's a guy in there that's his face is on the desk, and there's actually drool.
Yes.
Like rolling down the edge of the desk. It's like, oh my God, you guys are taking it too far. You're taking it too far. Too funny. Too much fun. Of course, I am like way easily entertained. Okay, so let me see here. Let me make sure I have this available here. It normally gives it to me all together, but I guess not. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can.
Okay, lovely. Okay, so I'm in student view, so now you guys don't have all my extra stuff on there. All right, so here we are at the last thing, and what you guys are going to find out in some of your classes is that they are doing a pretty good job of kind of pulling things together for you at the end, creating projects where you might have worked over multiple weeks in order to create something. And I think that's kind of cool because it gives you an opportunity to create something that's a little bit more detailed or invested than just doing something super simple.
Mm-hmm.
So this week we're going to be pulling together some stuff, and then you guys will also be creating a Behance account. A Behance account. Hold on.
What about the
sorry, furball. Okay, what were you saying?
What about the Google site?
Behance?
No, there's one on Google that we did.
We had to do set up an e-portfolio in Google in one of our first classes.
Oh.
So are we supposed to use Google, or are we supposed to be using this one that we're going to be doing today?
The one that we're doing now is a Behance is an Adobe product. So if you guys look, this is my account. I just built it today. So I just stuck one of my images in there just so I could figure out how to do it. I think automatically within like 10 minutes of posting my picture, somebody already liked me. Somebody found me and is following my work.
Oh, wow.
I was like, okay. I'm like, I don't know that I want you to follow my work. I was just posting that as a sample. And as you guys are working along with your projects, it's probably good for you guys to do this. This is, I'm writing a book, and this is meant to be cover art for my book. But this one was built in Illustrator. So, maybe I'll stick a couple of my pieces on there just so I have some work out there. But I think, it's good for you guys, especially if you are artists and not just about the digital format, but you guys can create, put your work on there because it gives you lots of different categories where you can place your information. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So Behance is a place to store your work, and I think from the perspective of a prospective employer or someone that's looking at hiring you, I think it helps them to sort of have a sense about the kind of work that you do.
Oh, yeah.
So it gives you a place to send them right now, and you're not investing in a full portfolio. They were, I know initially, and I'm not sure if they're still doing it, they were using Wix or Weebly in order to build your websites. They're very Flash oriented. I don't know if they're edge oriented now since they switched over to that, or I think that's what they're calling it, the replacement for Flash. But they're certainly shifted as far as the static, straightforward website. I have a static, straightforward website for my hypnotherapy practice. That one is like static and straightforward. This one doesn't move either, but it does give people a chance for you to interact with people who are also in the same kind of field as you, and again, gives people a place to go and see your work. So you guys can post cool stuff you've done. Are you guys both artists?
I'm not. I draw stick figures.
This is my real artistry. So this is the only place I express artistry is through digital format, because I'm not a drawer either.
Right.
So
Okay.
this is really the only way I can express it, because I don't have the other skills.
And so then my answer would be yes, because I can do similar to what you're doing.
Yes. So this gives you an opportunity to be an artist, but it's in a different way.
Right.
Okay?
Mhm.
All right. So there's Behance.
I have
Can
a
you
quick
post
question.
your old stuff in there?
Pardon me?
Can you post some of your old stuff in there?
Yeah,
Things that you've done in-
there's no rules on what you're posting in there. I think it's just a matter of having some files in there. What does the instructions say on that? Let's see. Instructions say create, I copied the instructions to a Word document. Create a Behance portfolio site and set up a professional portfolio. Add the final assessment as the first project. So this will give me a chance to see, I can just make sure that you guys have it available there. This is how to create it. So if you look in the link, and then this is actually a static site. And then in the readings is the one that I was just, is this one. This one's the static one.
What's a static?
A standard page that doesn't change. I guess I think about that. Normally you say static versus like Flash would be a page that moves.
Okay. All right.
You know, that has more interaction with it, like the button squish,
Right.
things like that, versus the YouTube video here.
So you just
This one's helpful steps for creating a Behance portfolio. And, you know, he's talking a little bit about how you might go out and show off some of your work. So you can see he's linking to LinkedIn and talking about how to, you know, kind of get your work out there. So if that's something, you guys do some work that you really, really like. I mean, I wouldn't put anything on there that's not something that you created yourself. So anything like we say, when you guys take Illustrator, you can do a robot. Don't put your robot out there. But when you do in InDesign, the final assignment is a menu, a 4-page menu. If you did a good job with that, that's something you want to put on on that page. Okay?
All right.
So a lot of times your final assessment you do for each of your classes, that's what goes there. All right? Okay. So that's what you're going to do with Behance. So post your information, make it look and sound professional, add the final assessment, any parts of the project you feel, submit your URL to your Behance site to me, email your URL to the associate dean or program, add your copy. Yeah, for me, if you guys want to just put your URL in the assessment folder, that's cool. You don't need to copy me to them. That's all good. And then if you guys don't know who your AD is, then I would have that information so I could look it up for you.
Is he the same one we've had?
Yes.
Big-
Yeah, you guys should know because they are probably in relatively good contact with you.
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So this is the same as this page right here. So the idea is what we're going to do is we're going to take our project and we're going to put it all together in an 8-page booklet. We're going to use InDesign. And then we're going to build our final project. So for anything that is multiple pages beyond a couple, InDesign is really meant for that. That's really the purpose of InDesign. InDesign is a page layout program. It is designed to work across multiple pages. If you're going to do a 20-page document and you do an Illustrator, you're silly, because there are some tools in InDesign that are meant for, that are specific. It's master pages in particular, and character and paragraph styles, which exist in the other ones, but it's just very, very easily used in InDesign. Now, I'm not going to go through those. You guys will learn those when you take page layout, but or I might discuss them briefly, but it's really not, yeah, no, I'm not going to talk about them. But it's really about making sure that you guys have a clean design. Maybe I'll talk about master pages, just because it's cool. It doesn't really hurt you guys to have exposure to something more than once anyway, right?
No, it doesn't.
It's kind of, even though children learn that way, adults learn that way too. So we learn how to, what's this, style sheets to maintain consistency. Maybe I will show you guys just for fun. Okay, you may use full color. I won't score down if you don't use it though. Create a cover. So the title, they've given you the title, Graphic Design Handbook. Your name is the author. Write a short introductory paragraph. I'll show you guys what this looks like in the samples that she sent over. Use your timeline as the graphic for page 4 or page 4 and 5. In all the cases I think that I graded, everybody did it horizontal. So because it was done horizontal, then it will take up page 4 and 5. It's set up to be the right size for that. Let's see. Use a copy of your week 2 assignment for the next pages. Now, I had some of the students that did this assignment, and when they did their comments on the images, when they did their comments in the Word document, they actually commented on their own images, and I didn't know they were doing it, so I'm like, what images are you referring to? I don't get it. I'm like, oh. And then when somebody commented back, I was like, oh, I felt dumb. But anyway, what you guys can do is combine it together here.
Okay.
So what you'll have is 2 pages basically to play with your copy on alignment, contrast, repetition, and proximity. And then you also place your text in there too. So I'll show you how that looks. And then the last page is your back cover. You're going to put your poem there. Put your poem there. The one you did last week.
So we're not going to put any of our zoo designs in there?
No, none of your pretty zoo designs.
How come?
But you can put your pretty zoo designs in your Behance portfolio.
No.
Because those zoo designs, one of mine I liked a lot.
Well, then that goes in your Behance portfolio.
Okay. All right.
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, that gives you a place to sort of express it. When you guys have projects that you really like and it's your creative thing that you created yourself, then for sure, put those in Behance. This is really meant to prep you guys and get you all ready for a job. That's the whole purpose of going to college, yes?
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that you guys are all prepped and have stuff out there and you're already adding to your portfolio. And, somebody found me and I didn't even ask them to find me. I wasn't even trying to be found. Someone's following you. I'm like, they're following me for what? Tell them to get off. Stop following me. Get that out. All right. Sorry, I'm misbehaving.
No, that's okay. I have a quick question for you.
Yes, go ahead.
I lost the question. It'll come back to me.
All right. You holler when it comes back.
Okay.
Okay, so samples. A sample number 1. Here's a sample. So Graphic Design Handbook. This is done by a student. This is actually covering 2 pages. So normally, if you look at the instructions, page 2 is just a blank page. So this is the back of the cover. So when we go to talk about it, what we'll do is if you guys have a book anywhere near you or calendar or anything like that, if you lay it flat on the desk, what you'll notice is that the cover page is actually on the right side, which might be a little counterintuitive to some people. And the back cover is on the left side. Now, we're not going to line this up because we don't need to for this particular assignment, because we're going to do something very specific on the last page. But if you were doing, say, a menu cover, it's easier for you to design across those 2 pages and treat them as one big long page than it is for you to treat them as 2 individual pages. But you have to remember that when the book folds over and you close it, that the right side is the one that actually has the cover on it. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we go to set up our pages, it'll look a little bit different, but this is the inside, this is the back of that front page, which is oftentimes just left blank. All right, so this one is actually broken into 2 pieces because, let me see if I can download it really quickly. It's a PDF here, so we'll see if it'll download and then I can show you the full thing. Come on, baby. Do the locomotion. Okay, booklet number 1. Now, when you save out, you have the opportunity to save something as a spread, or you have the opportunity to save it out as individual pages. What you might do is save it out as a spread, and then if you design across multiple pages, it gives you the option for it to show up that way. So, see, this one actually was saved out as a spread. So what we can do is we can see both of those pages together. Does this make sense? I need to stop saying that. Just nod your head and just go whatever, Sherry. Okay, so what they did is they stuck a little welcome letter in here. So this is what you want to do, and so just put a little paragraph in here. I would probably make sure that you can spell things correctly, especially since we're going to put this on your Behance page, and having a graphic designer that spells things wrong is not a good thing. So put in Word or whatever, make sure that people can read it, use a little style to put it together. So this is page 1. This is page 1. This is page 2. This is page 3. Okay, page 4 and 5. Since most of you guys did.
I'm sorry. Which one?
Go ahead.
I apologize. I got lost. So page 1 is the cover, and then the next one was.
So this is a spread. So this is a spread versus a page. A page would be just an individual one of these. A spread is going across 2 pages.
Okay.
We can create spreads that are more than 2 pages.
I gotcha. No, I understand that.
This one happens just to be 2 pages wide, which is the most common. So we're dealing across a spread, and so when you guys built your graphic art, this page, it was designed at the right size to fit across both these pages. Okay?
Okay. I remember my question. When I turned in my first assignment, the graphic history, the timeline, it was one that I didn't like. Remember, I was talking to you about it. Started to make some changes. You showing me different things. Do I have to put in the one that I originally submitted, or can I change it?
Change it.
Cool. I did not like the one I was submitted. Okay.
Yeah, make it look pretty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you and I worked pretty hard on that. So I think we want you to learn, and that's the point. So as we make improvements and as you learn more information, then making those changes is a smart thing.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. And then this is an example of the images. So this is how they did theirs. So I don't know how those, I'd have to see it up close to see what it's doing, but it looks like there's some repetition in the R shape. So they're doing these kind of big drop caps as their first image of that specific element. And this is their poem, and that's their 8th page. Cool? So there's 1 cover page, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, come on, 6, 7, 8. All right, so let's go get the next one. Back. Booklet. Download. Okay. Hand it over. Okay. Booklet number 2. All right, so this one again is doing it in spreads. They saved it out so that it gave spreads. And if you guys remind me, I will show you how to do that. A brief paragraph. So in this case, what they did, and this is really common, to put an opaque shape behind text to make it more readable. That's probably only like 10 to 15% opacity on that. So it's not very opaque. It's just pretty solid with just a little bit of the background showing through. And of course, they pulled the color of the text through from the back. This is their timeline. This is their principles. So they showed the different ones. Notice that they placed the images next to it. And if we were to lay this out, this is looking pretty much like a 3-column design. So I'll show you guys how to create that with a 3-column design on a page. This is column 1 over here, and this is column 2 and 3. So they're going across column 2 and 3 with their body text. And the columns are just there to show you as a demonstration of where things are supposed to go. You're just supposed to use them as guides. It doesn't mean that you can't go across them. So they're just there as a separation. Yeah, this is one of my favorite quotes.
I love that.
Marianne Williamson, favorite. It goes right up there with the one I did for you guys last week, which was, it's better to be kind than to be right. I've heard her talk a couple of times. She just came out with a new book too. All right. Come on. Okay, let me shrink this one up just a little bit. Okay, so this one is relatively clean lines. I think I had question in my class before. This is page 2. So he did not save it in spreads. So this is an example of what it looks like when it's not done in spreads. So this would be the back of this page. Okay, then here's his little paragraph. And then this is the first part of his, in the second half. There's his 4 design principles. So pretty straightforward when you look at this. There's contrast, there's repetition, there's alignment, proximity. And then there is his final piece. That's a singer, right? May your neighbors respect you, trouble neglect you, angels protect you, and heaven accept you. That's a rapper, I think. Hey, look at what things I know. It's not a candy wrapper. I know that's what you guys were thinking. That was called a delayed reaction. I know. My family is known for having a very dry sense of humor, so I apologize. I'm like, but it was kind of funny, but they didn't laugh. Okay, delayed reaction. It's okay. All right. So you ready to start building this puppy? Let's do it, yay? InDesign, yay. So this was just one of the examples that they had in there of one of the students' work, and I kept trying to open files, and this was what kept opening. So I don't want that. I'm like, stop it. I want this thingy that she showed me. But we found it. Just took me a second. I'm hanging out in her Dropbox. Norma! We could say, Norma! Gotta know the old cheers to get that one. What did they say? Hey, Norm? They said, hey, Norm, right? Did they used to say, hey, Norm? What did they say when you came in? Hey, Norm? No? Okay. So before, when I had you guys do this, I had you start on page 2. That keeps the pages next to each other in spreads. In our case, we're just going to allow it to offset. So you'll have page 1 at the top and page 8 at the bottom. And then, like the samples that we saw, the middle pages will be in spreads. Okay, so let's just make sure that we're setting this up properly. So, oops, that's the creative brief. I didn't know there's a second page of the creative brief. I was joking around with Shell. I said, I'm just being a student, Shell. I'm just not reading all the instructions. I'm just not looking at the second page. She just laughed at me. Not you guys, just the other students. You guys never do that, right?
Correct.
Yes, that's the other students. Okay. I'm sorry. Really, I haven't talked
today, Sherry. I can tell you.
I haven't talked to people for a while or something. I don't know. I apologize. Okay, so let's leave this orientation. Let's leave it as portrait. That will come out better and be more like a booklet and have everything fit properly on the page. And it does say that we want to have this 8.5 by 11, and then it does say we want to do a bleed. So we talked a couple of times about a bleed. What was the purpose of a bleed?
So that the color goes all the way to the edge.
Good job. Look at you.
How did we want orientation? I'm sorry.
Leave the orientation as portrait.
Portrait, thank you.
Not as landscape. Margins of 0.5 seem to work relatively well. Although in Word, when you do something in Word, it's only a 1-inch margin. I almost always change my Word documents to 0.5-inch margins or 0.75-inch margins. I don't usually leave them at 1 inch. It's too big for me. But I work all the time in APA format for having to read papers and stuff. So, yeah. Yay. Yay. This is odd. I have one page and it's called number 8. Let me try that again. I'm like, this isn't complicated. Okay, so I want 8 pages. I want them to be facing pages. Oh, I see. I'm in the wrong place. Okay. Okay. Number of pages 8, start on page 1.
I would have done the same thing, trust me.
Wow. I was like, what? It's okay. You guys just all made the mistake and now you're erasing it and doing it right. It's okay. See what important things you learn by making boo-boos?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we hit okay. And now we'll have 8 pages. See? 8 pages. Yay!
Yay.
All right, so notice our bleed. Our bleed is our little red mark over here. Notice our safety zone, our margins. This is the pink purple line here in the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Notice what page we're on. Now, if you wanted to do something that happened on all pages, let's say it wouldn't even matter on the page that you have your timeline, it might cover it up completely. You could create something called a master page. And what the master page does is whatever you create on it, it applies to all the other ones. You see the letter A right here?
Mm-hmm.
That letter suggests which master is being applied. So I could create multiple masters if I'm doing a longer, more complex document. Let's say I was working with a friend who was creating a book, and you had to have different pages. So what she wanted to do is she traveled a lot. So what she wanted to have is like a master page where she had the first page of the chapter. At the top of it would say what chapter number it was. It would have a spot for an image. And then she would have the text start in a certain place. And then she had to have the other pages and what the other pages look like. So basically she would have 2 separate masters. She'd have a master for the chapter beginning page and then a master for all other pages. And what it does is it tells it everything it needs to know. It says, I want you to put the page number at the bottom. I want you to start the text right here. I want you to align it in a certain way. When you bind a book, so I worked with a lady that did, let me see if I can show it to you really quick. What I usually do is I usually teach people in business how to do graphic design that's specific to what they need. And what she was doing was this guy draws these comics, and what she was doing was she was taking the comics and putting them into comic books. So I was teaching her, we used Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign for all of the images because we had to go through a process with each one to convert it from what he had hand-drawn into a digital format, got rid of the text, retyped the text in a digital format. So there was a lot of stuff we had to do in order to make it work, but we created these master pages. We ended up with 9 or 11 or something like that because sometimes the page would have 1 full comic on it. Sometimes it would have 2 half pages. Sometimes it would have 4. Sometimes, I'm trying to think of what other combinations there were. Sometimes it would have 1 on the 1 half page and then 2 quarter pages on the bottom and on the top. And so we came up with that, and then you had to left align it and you had to do a right alignment because you had to create space on the inside where the binding would happen, and the binding takes up a certain amount of space. So you'd make your page be a certain size, and then you'd have to shift your margins a certain amount to make sure the binding was right. So once we got that set up, then she can make as many comic books as she wants because the master's been set up, and then she just has to do all the other stuff to clean up the images and then place them in the way that they want them to place in. Does this make sense?
Mhm.
Our job was super tedious. So this was super tedious to start off with, but we put Zach and Zadie together. This guy's really got a really quirky sense of humor, just super funny. I mean, some of the ones they have in there are just too funny. Yeah, so stripes have gone vertical for fall. So he's kind of taking some of these ones out. The lions cut out the weak and frail from the herd, so they're carting them off. And Zach's job is he works in a shop, and his job is to put his head through a hole, and he's a mounted head. So his job that he goes to every day is as a mounted head.
Oh, how exciting is that?
We're not
He
gonna,
just stands there?
and he just stands there, and sometimes he talks to the other heads.
Okay.
And of course, Zadie's his girlfriend, so they have some other characters in there too that are part of his family. So yeah, they're very, very cute. Just a really cute sense of humor he has. They just kind of took some of the stuff that apply to us today. I was just seeing if he had, they have one about plumber's crack. It's just funny. And then they have, she was yelling at him for taking her to the movies on giraffe night because they couldn't see over their heads. Yeah, anyway. There you go. So anyway, we had a lot of master pages. We named the master pages what they were. So this would be 4 up left, 4 up right, 2 up, 1 down. We named them based on what the function of that particular page was. So that's how we created a whole bunch of master pages to make that work. So if we wanted to, what we could do to make this function and to create sort of a consistency, we place things over the top of them. So even if you have a master page hanging out behind it, if you place stuff over the top, this is going to hang out in the background. So let's say, for example, we want to create a border that goes around our page where maybe our text stays inside of, maybe we could place it like this. So let me zoom out. Notice I'm on the master page. I'm up here. You guys want to do your designing down here on these pages. The master page is what's going to apply to all pages. So let me zoom out just a hair. And I spent a lot of time teaching this in InDesign. So I spent multiple weeks covering this. But let's just say we draw a shape. I'm going to play with it in just a second to make it match up a little bit more with what I want. I'm going to zoom a little bit. See if I can get it right in between the edge of the page and the page. Now the bleed is there. Would we necessarily have to use the bleed? Is that a requirement because it's there?
No.
If they don't really see that they need to cut anything off, they're not going to cut it off. It's really meant for the printer. It's giving the printer some information. I'm eyeballing this if you're doing it for reals. When she and I did it, we pulled out the calculator and we figured stuff out. Because it was set for life. We just didn't have to worry about it after that. So it looks pretty good. Okay. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a stroke on it. So I don't need a fill. I'm just going to create a stroke. You can always create a fill on it. Doesn't matter. But just for my purposes, I'm just going to create a stroke. Let's just go with the dark blue. I'm going to bump up my stroke. I'm just going to make it about 4 point maybe. Go with 5 point. And that's just to create a level of consistency across my pages. So when you guys look at the pages now, notice I'm on master, but now I'm going to go down here to A, and you're going to see that it's got the that created on it.
Great.
Now I could still put stuff right over the top of it. There's this next page, and then there's the last page. This looks kind of strange because this thing's hanging out over here, but it won't matter when it comes down to it. Now what I could do is on page 1, I can put the none on it, and on page I put none on it. Then that goes away, and notice it doesn't have a page on it. Or I can create a separate master for that. So this is just to introduce the concept of it. If you guys don't use it, I'm not going to score down. If you don't use it in InDesign, on the other hand, that's different. But this is just to introduce you guys to the concept. All right, so we're going to create a cover. I would like to do the bleed and recognize the bleed on this cover. So I'm going to take it all the way to the edge of the page on this one. I might be able to find an image background that I might be able to use. If you use an image background, you're going to need to make sure that it's large enough to cover this space and have it look really nice. Because if you take an image that's a 72 pixel image and you're using it for something that's meant to be printed, and then you stretch it on top of that, all you're going to have is a mass of pixels. And that looks ucky. So that's a technical term, ucky. Yeah. So we can create whatever we want here for a background. Let's maybe stick with that blue, and let's you can do like a gradient behind there. We can kind of play with it. So maybe let's just see if I have. I don't think I have any gradients in here already stored. Of course not. Now I can go down here. I have libraries down here. So a lot of times I might have swatches. I don't have any gradients apparently. That's not very nice. And then I can usually open libraries down here too. I can create a swatch that we can put in there. So let's go ahead and just go back to our regular swatches. Come on. Apparently we don't want to show all swatches. Let's see if I have load swatches. Nope, it wants me to load my own. I don't want to. I want you to give them to me. Okay. Let's go ahead and create our own gradient then. So let's create a shape so we can actually put something in it. So we're going to carry it all the way to the edge of the bleed because we want the color to go all the way to the edge. Really common, probably the most common time that you're going to use a bleed is on a cover. Most of the pages on the inside, if they're text, they're just not going to need to go to the edge. Let's go get a gradient. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull it off here, and then it gives me a little bit more play. Let's go ahead and grab that blue color. I'm just going to click on that. Okay, I'm going to drag that blue color onto my gradient here. Come on.
You sure about that?
Apparently not. Come here. Come here. Am I thinking in Illustrator? In Illustrator, we can do this. Okay, here we go. We're going to just do it this way. I'm just going to double click on the color stop. Apparently, we don't want to do anything. Don't you want to play? Come on. Can't we just create our gradient? Be a good little gradient. Wow. It should show a little plus bar on here. Do you guys have yours open?
No, I do. I do. I'll try.
Yeah, see what yours does, because it shouldn't be this hard. Should be just a drag and drop kind of thing. Wow, come on now. All right, we'll do it that way. I just dragged it off my swatches. That's really odd. But we'll just go, isn't that interesting? And maybe we'll go to a white and maybe we'll change it to 90 degrees. Put this back over here.
Sherry,
Yes.
when we're doing a new, when we're creating this, is it a new document, book, or library?
You can do it either way. I would just do it as a document.
Okay, thank you.
For our purposes, just do document.
Okay. 8 pages, 1.
Now, if I put this on the master, it would show up on all the other ones, but we did pull the same blue color, so we are helping to tie our elements together. And then, again, if you want to do something that stays across the pages, you put it on the master. And then I'm supposed to call this what? Well, let's call this Graphic Design Handbook. So remember to pull the text out. We're going to use a text box. Graphic Design Handbook. All right. So let's bump up the volume here. Maybe not bumped that high. Okay. And then I want to pick a font. What do you think we need to say in our font? We want to do something maybe bolder, right? Maybe a little bit like strong. This is a graphic design handbook, man. Like that. Not like Edwardian. Graphic design handbook. Cooper Black. Maybe we'll make it go in 2 lines like that. And then I hit just Command A just to make sure it selected everything. Okay. Now there's a challenge with what I have going on here. Can you guys see what the challenge might be? Any ideas? What you guys can just do is pull this out and then center it. I'm going to go ahead and center it and allow it to center completely. I don't do that very often, but I'm going to do it this time. Anything that you guys notice that might be a challenge with this? Anything you're thinking of? Not really?
Sorry, I was trying to, I was still trying to do the design thing, so I
Oh,
was looking at the screen. Ask me the question again, please.
I was asking if there's any issue with that.
With this?
Just what I have up there right now.
Yes.
What's the issue?
Well, the issue is, well, maybe not. I don't know. I just think that, actually, no, I have that reversed. I was thinking that if it was reversed, if the graphic design was down here, it might, down here, you can't see me. Sorry, down in the white part, then it might be a problem, but maybe not.
So your instincts were what I was thinking of, is that it's actually hard to see.
Right.
So I'm creating some contrast here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can pop it just a little bit by adding a slight stroke. So I saw some people doing this, and one of the things I'd say to you is, unless you are really intentional about it, I would be careful about stroking something. If it's a large body of text, stroking is really meant to be more on a heading and something that you don't need to worry about, because they start to run into the letters and it starts kind of messing things up.
Right.
You can see now these letters are now connected to each other.
Okay.
They weren't before because I added a stroke to them.
Oh, I see.
So if you do a light stroke on something, like you can even do a half stroke. So let me just show you up here. You can do like a 0.5 stroke. It's almost so subtle that you can't tell it's there, but it's just enough to distinguish it from the background a little bit better.
Oh.
So the strokes are kind of helpful in that they can help you with something complex. I would just avoid altogether putting text over the top of an image unless you have an area in the image that is kind of blank, like a blue sky or some water where things are consistent. If you aren't going to do that, you could create an opaque text box, and the opaque text box will show whatever is underneath it through, but it would keep the elements consistent. So what we could do, just for fun, is let's go ahead and align this to center. So I'm going to right click on the text box and text frame options and align to center. If you don't have the right click, you can go up here. I think it's under object. Object text frame options, same as I'm doing when I'm right clicking. And I think I want to actually bump up the stroke on that 2 out of 4. And just for fun, what would you guys say to me coloring in my box? What color do you guys think that would be good on that? If we color the text box, the background on the text box.
I think it's pretty the way it is.
You like it without a color in it?
No, I don't think I would color it
Okay.
because the gradient comes through and I think that adds to it.
So you like it like that. So don't put the color. Okay, so just so you guys notice, I'm just going to show you what it would look like if we did it. So if we wanted to, we could place a color in it behind it.
Oh,
And just notice that really creates even more contrast with the background.
oh,
Because
I
we're
see.
creating kind of a pop.
Yeah.
It's going to give a little bit more of a
Okay.
contrast in the elements. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But you like it without?
Yeah, I think it
Yes.
looks better, a little more subtle.
You like it better, what, hun?
A little more subtle. I like that better.
You like the subtle? Norma
Yeah.
says she's having a storm, so she keeps running away. No running away, Norma. You have to stay here with us.
I want to.
I hear you. I hear you. This class, we're just meant to talk to each other. I usually have everybody be quiet, but we're just not meant to do that this class. I think you guys are being quiet when I'm teaching, so I think that's helpful. Okay. So let's come down here at the bottom, and then we're just going to say Sherry Hearts down here at the bottom. Maybe. Okay, if it does that and it acts dumb and doesn't want to create a box where you're asking it to go, pull it over here to the side and create your text box, and then you can put it where you want it to go. I don't know why it does that.
Sherry, I found out why it does that.
Why does it do that?
Because I spent a day and a half trying to figure this out.
What did you find out?
You are in, possibly in preview and not in the other one.
I am not in preview.
Okay.
If I were in preview, all these little lines would go away as well as my bleed.
That's true. I don't know then.
Do a guess though. That would certainly cause the problem.
Yep.
That would cause the problem. Would you like to stick with the same font, or do you guys want to go for something different to contrast it?
Contrast it.
Contrast it. Okay. Would you like maybe a serif font since this one's a sans serif?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let me center that.
I want kind of like a one that was kind of a soft, scrolly type for me personally.
You want like a scripty font?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
We'll scripty
Murray Hill is good.
Which one do you like?
Murray Hill.
I don't think I have Murray Hill. That one doesn't sound familiar to me at all.
The one I like, I designed my daughter's graduation announcement.
Mm-hmm.
And the one I used, oh, now I can't think of it. Hold on, I'll get it. Let's see. The monotype Corsiva, that's the one I like. It just kind of is nice and soft.
You gave that one to me before, so we'll just go use that one. Now, one of the things I'm doing just to make my life a little easier is you guys will notice I'm actually taking the text box and I'm stretching it across the entire page, and then I'm telling it to center within that.
Oh.
Then I don't have to figure out how to center it. I'm letting it do the job.
Oh, is that how you do that?
No, if you're left aligning it, that's not going to work. But
Right.
when you're centering it, then you have that option to go ahead and pull the text box straight across, and then that takes care of that. So are you guys okay with me leaving this black
Yes.
since I have it on the white?
So it matches.
Okay. All right. So come back here, and what we want to do is we're going to create a page 2, and our page 2 isn't really going to have anything on it. So maybe what we can do is we can take our gradient and set the opacity back on it. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we can do that. I don't know if I have to think about that. How am I going to do that? Okay, so I'm going to take my box. I'm going to copy it. Or you guys could dedicate this to somebody if there's somebody that you wanted to dedicate it to. I just cheated and copied and pasted it. Okay, I need to make sure I match it up right. Boop, boop. Okay. Notice extending just a little bit beyond the center because I have a bleed on that side. That's a 0.25 bleed. So it's extending 0.25 into the other page. I'm just going to pull that over so it doesn't mess with my page. And then this is going to be where I'm going to put my cover stuff. So let me see. Can we set the opacity back on that puppy? All right. So now our opacity's been set back. Again, if I don't want to have that blue line, I can always pull down none if I don't want the blue line to show up. So on my pages, you guys remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
So right now master A is applied, which just has that blue bar across it. I can always pull none down if I want it to disappear. Okay. Scooch this up so I can see the bottom. All right, so we're going to create a little paragraph in here. What I'd say to you is put it in Word so I don't have to go spelling errors.
Yeah, I'm not, it does work. I agree, but it's not 100% foolproof because I had, in my poem, I had hurry and then hooray
Yes. I
Yes.
remember that. I'm like, it says hooray.
And I'm like, what?
You have, I don't think you're supposed to hooray. I think you're supposed to hooray. Hooray! Already, hooray! Okay. Demonstrate. Four of the major design principles. You will find in this booklet information and an example of the four types. Also included in this course, in this booklet, also included is a history of graphic design, timeline that gives a sense of how design principles have changed over time. On the back cover, you will notice one of my favorite sayings converted into typography and demonstrating the four principles. Okay, so I've got it. I didn't make any spelling boo-boos, so I can either copy and paste this or I can save it and place it. So I have the option to do either one, and I'm just going to cheat and copy and paste it.
All right, I haven't been here, so I have a question.
Yes.
Do we have to use the blue
No,
in the gradient, or is that just what the design you were using?
that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, just checking.
You just have your own fun. You just have your own fun with this. Okay, let's just go with one more font. Let's go with a clean font, and then anything else that we need to create that have to do with headings, either use this one or this one. We need to come up with a nice clean one for body text. Let's bump this up to at least 14. A little space between those two. Might have to bump it up a little bit more. And that is not a pretty font. Not a fan of that font. So let's go with a nice serif font. Times New Roman does not count in that because we don't like Times New Roman.
Is Arial a
Arial's a sans serif. It's probably, my favorite sans serif font is Verdana.
okay?
But I have it right there. We could use it.
No, it's too used.
It's too used,
Yes, it's like Times Roman, Times New Roman.
except Times New Roman has weird spacing. I'm just saying.
I agree.
Every once in a while you're reading it, it's like, are those two words or is that one word all squished together?
It's hard for me to understand why they have that font, anyway, whatever it's called.
Times
As
New Roman.
yeah, as an APA.
Don't look at me because I have to look at it all the time.
I know. I was like, are you kidding me?
It's definitely not my favorite. Okay.
That Japanese text looked nice.
The Japanese text.
Mm-hmm.
This Javanese.
Yeah, Japanese.
That looks pretty clean.
Yes.
Okay. Let's actually place a color behind it. Ooh, just for fun, let's actually save our gradient as a swatch. So I'm just gonna, I have it in my window over here. I'm gonna add to swatches. And maybe what we do is we put it inside of here. Just because it's fun. Boop. And then we're gonna come over here to our gradient. We're gonna change it 90 degrees. And then we're gonna set the opacity back. Or we can flip our text and make this be white. Now, one of the things, another thing I noticed when you guys are creating these boxes, you need to be really aware of how close the text gets to the edge.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were, see how that,
Yeah.
what?
I had the same
I
thing
have the
happen.
stroke in the film. Darn it. Flip. Get rid of that stroke. Okay. What you really want to do is really make sure that your text has some room to breathe. So what we're going to do is we're going to click right here inside of here, and we're going to go to our text frame options, and we're going to use our inset spacing.
Oh, okay. I wondered how to do that.
Yeah.
I did too. So inset.
So either you right click on it or you go up here to, it's under object, I think. Yeah. And text frame options, or right click and text frame options. And I
Okay.
don't super like that. What do you guys think?
I
don't think it's that easy to read.
No. I agree. What does it look like in black?
It's dark.
It's too dark to read.
Yeah. The other option would be, now the challenge is I placed the color on the text frame. Now I could do a couple different things. I'm going to go a little crazy on you guys. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, a little crazy, a little bit. Okay, so right here, it gives us the option to actually play with some stuff. So what I can do is I can do something on an object, a stroke, a fill, and text. So these are some Photoshop tools that you guys might normally apply in Photoshop. They actually hang out here in Illustrator as well. So I can apply it to just a stroke, which is very fun, or just a fill, or just text. And I could bevel and emboss text. Now, do I really do that a lot? Probably not, because I can't read it.
Yeah.
But maybe what we'll do is we'll bevel and emboss the actual box. So let's see what happens, because it may try to do it to our text. So let's just see. And then right here, I have my effects. Maybe we'll do a slight bevel. And that might give it a little bit more distinction.
Give it a 3D look.
And then maybe we'll put a little drop shadow on it. And notice you can always move things around, right? Play with the angle that your drop shadow and everything sits at. Is that a little bit more readable?
That looks nice. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm still not sure that's that readable. Okay, so another little Sherry trick. Another thing that I do sometimes is I duplicate a layer that's text. And then that would make it stronger.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yes, that worked.
Let's do it one more time.
So how did it, yeah, let me, I don't. Ah,
I don't know. I don't know it's that readable. Let's look at a stronger font. That might be too skinny. Might have chose a skinny font. Let's choose a font with more tooth to it. That one's very pretty though.
it is pretty.
Hello. Japanese. Um, um, um. We might have to throw away the other layers because I don't think it's going to work properly if I do it this way. I don't know. Let's change the opacity on that a little bit. Sometimes when you do it, it changes on the everything. What do you think you're changing the opacity on there, thingy? You're at 49%. We should be able to see a difference.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
When I outlined my text,
Mm-hmm.
I used a 4-point outline. And then when I went at the end to outline the text itself, it went away.
When you outlined your text, you used a 4-point outline. So when you outline your text, all you're doing is converting it to an object.
Right.
So all it would do is just change everything to points. So ask your question again.
When I outlined my text at the end to get it ready to submit,
Mm-hmm.
when I went on the object and create outline, the text went away.
It disappeared.
It disappeared.
Now, and you're sure you had the text selected when you did that?
Yes.
I really don't know why it would be doing that. I'd have to play with it to see it.
It was when I did the keeper, the zookeeper,
Uh-huh.
and I had it 4-point outlined in white. It was green and I had it outlined in white. And when
So you had a 4-point stroke on it?
yes, 4-point stroke on
Uh,
when I went to object, create outline, it went away. It disappeared.
Okay. So it's a different thing because you want to go to type and then you want to do create outlines from type.
Yes.
Did you do that or did you go to object?
I went to object.
Okay, it's a different thing when you go in here. I'm trying to think what we have that's going to come up that way though. Create outlines. You must have gone under text.
Maybe I went under type and create outline.
It should have got rid of it. It should have just converted it to an object.
Should have, but it didn't. It disappeared.
I'm not sure. I would probably stop it and try it again and go back and do it again.
I did it 2 or 3 times to make sure
Okay.
it wasn't just me.
Next time it happens, go in with the tutors and let them help you.
Okay.
Let them see if they can figure out what's going on.
All right. Will do.
Okay? Because, when you guys have that, and then you're sitting there just being frustrated, that's not good.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
And I have eye problem enough as it is.
Yeah, frustration is bad. We don't like frustration. That's poopy. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go grab our timeline. So I think I got one created. Did I create one? File in place. And let's go to 109. It was week 2, right?
Yes.
No,
Was that week
no,
one?
one.
Week one.
The timeline was week 1.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it was my lecture.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. Lecture. Is this it? No, that's not it. Okay, let me go actually go look. So maybe I should have looked at this beforehand. Speaking of type disappearing, no type Photoshop shows, no type shows in Photoshop. No type shows in Photoshop. What do you mean, Paula, when you say that?
When I type in Photoshop, when I have a picture or trying to do something like that,
Uh-huh.
no, and I try to type, the type doesn't show.
Okay, so when you're in Photoshop and you want to do something that has to do with type, I know this might sound odd to you guys, but this is actually my least favorite program. So I'm going to drag out a text box and I'm going to put information in here. Information. So when you do that, it doesn't come up.
No, it doesn't come up at all.
Okay. Ask me at the end of class and we'll look at your Photoshop and see what's going on.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Maybe it's something weird that's happening. Okay. So classes 109. Okay. So let's go to week 1, you guys said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Timeline student example.
Didn't I create one?
You did. Thought.
Student samples, timeline student examples, assignment. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I need to go under assignment. Place. Assignment. It should be about the right height to width.